Hey guys, it's Alexa again, and you're watching Titanic. It's no secret that there are many chemicals, compounds, and elements on Earth that are so dangerous, just a little contact could end us. Therefore, this list shouldn't come as much of a surprise to many of you. For others, let this be a lesson. From ingredients in rat poison to gases released with the sole intention of destroying human life, this is the deadliest substances on Earth. Dimethylmercury. This is one terrifying substance because not only is it extraordinarily toxic and even deadly, but there's really no protection against it because it can pass through most standard protective equipment. It can even penetrate super thick latex gloves, and that's what happened in the case of Karen Wetterhan, a chemist, back in 1996. She got super sick 4 months after handling dimethylmercury and passed away 2 months after that. And the thing is, she only got 1 drop of it on her gloves. Talk about deadly. Aconite. So you've probably heard of this one, just not by its scientific name. Aconite also goes by wolf's bane, leopard's bane, blue rocket, queen of poisons, and devil's helmet. The term aconite actually covers an entire genus of more than 150 herbs that are, for the most part, all really poisonous. They're generally blue or yellow in color and are used in a lot of traditional medicines. They've also recently been turned to the dark side and have been used as a weapon for, let's just say, taking people out. Scary. Botulinum toxin. This potent and terrifying neurotoxin is caused by Clostridium botulinum bacteria, and it literally paralyzes your muscles, and in the right amount could do so until it led to, well, you know. The crazy thing is that this neurotoxin is actually much more common than you would think. People actually go and get this shot into their bodies on purpose. We're not lying. Ever heard of Botox? True life. Botox is just botulinum toxin, which paralyzes the muscles in the face or wherever else one chooses to get it injected. Pretty sketchy, huh? Amatoxin. This deadly toxin is found in poisonous mushrooms and takes out the kidneys and liver in days by attacking the cells in them, and at times it goes for the heart and nervous system as well. This is why you've gotta be sure before you decide to eat a mushroom for sustenance or otherwise. You could get yourself into a whole lot of trouble if you eat the wrong one. The toxins in the mushrooms are also heat stable and survive drying, so don't think that just by drying them out you'll be okay. There are treatments to counteract the poison, but it's not guaranteed to work, so you should probably just buy a mushroom handbook and avoid the situation altogether. Strychnine. This toxic substance is typically used to take out small rodents such as mice and other animals people deem pesky, like birds. It's usually one of the main, if not the main, ingredient in rat poison, and it's possible for deadly contact to take place through ingestion, inhalation, and even through the skin by touch. Symptoms typically include nausea, vomiting, muscle contractions, but that's just kind of the start. Seizures, kidney failure, hypertension, tachycardia, and many other things may happen as this poison keeps working its magic. And at times, it can lead to fatalities through cardiac arrest, multiple organ failure, brain damage, and respiratory failure. Yikes. Anthrax. Remember back in 2001 when somebody was sending anthrax to various senators just a week after 9/11? Well, do you really know anything about the mysterious, terrifying substance? It's actually a bacteria called Bacillus anthracis. The way it does its deadly work is by producing a toxin inside your body and gets there by ingesting, inhaling, or even just contacting it with the skin. Symptoms start to show up anytime between 1 day and 2 months after contact. And once you start showing symptoms, you better see someone. If you inhale anthrax, you've got a 45% chance of survival if you catch it right away in the first stage. Once it reaches the second stage, the mortality rate goes up to 90%. Anthrax. Yeah, it's deadly. Hemlock. You might know this next poisonous substance if you know your history. Remember the philosopher Socrates? Yeah, he was taken out by hemlock. It was actually a fairly common practice to use hemlock in executions in ancient Greece, which kind of sucks because it's a really painful way to go. There are several different varieties of the plant, but in North America, water hemlock is by far the most prevalent. Ingestion causes tremors, cramps, and violent, painful convulsions before the sufferer ultimately perishes. But not everyone dies from hemlock ingestion. No, some survive and suffer things like amnesia and other adverse effects for the rest of their lives. Water hemlock is a dangerous plant and should be avoided at all costs. Watch your kids outside, people. You never know what they're putting in their mouths, and you better pray to whoever you believe in that it's not water hemlock. Mercury. Can you believe that they used to put this stuff in old thermometers that kids used to handle in school back in the day? How terribly uninformed they were. This heavy metal is quite strong and potent and can most certainly be deadly if inhaled or ingested. What were they thinking? Just touching the substance can be enough to make your skin literally peel right off, and getting it inside of you causes all sorts of other issues you would not want, like, say, brain damage, blindness, memory loss, kidney failure, and sometimes it'll just shut down your entire central nervous system and you'll perish. Sound fun? We didn't think so either. Number 7. Polonium. This is one scary substance that we definitely want nothing to do with. Polonium has actually been linked to some pretty high-profile deaths, including those of Russian dissidents and the well-known Yasser Arafat. It's really potent and is said to be around 250,000 times as toxic as hydrogen cyanide, and that's saying something. It's a radioactive element and releases alpha particles to wreak havoc and cause damage. Alpha particles don't typically get along very well with organic matter, so once it's introduced, it goes to work destroying it. One thing that might make you feel better is that polonium cannot pass through the skin, so someone would have to get you to eat it or inject you with it if they were trying to take you out using the element. We sure hope you don't have any enemies that desperate. A theory out there says that 1 gram of polonium could take out up to 10 million people if it were injected or ingested. So let's hope no one ever decides to make this one into a weapon. Cerbera Odollam. Okay, so you know that something has got to be wrong with this tree as soon as you hear its nickname, which is the suicide tree. One thing that sucks about that, too, is that those that used to ingest Cerbera poison didn't really do so willingly. In fact, the tree was, at one time, used in Madagascar as a trial by poison. This means that those suspected of a crime would ingest the Cerbera poison by eating an othalanga, the fruit which contains this potent toxin, and then wait to see if they lived or not. If they lived, they were considered innocent, whereas if their soul took off, they were labeled guilty, as if it mattered at that point. Pufferfish toxin. If you don't know that pufferfish are toxic at this point in time, we don't know if we can help you. Well, I guess we are helping you by telling you about it now. Whatever. This fish is exceptionally toxic, although in many places it's served as a delicacy, and that we have to call crazy. This fish contains what's called tetrodotoxin, which is an amazingly potent neurotoxin that is up to 1,200 times as poisonous as cyanide. Cyanide. It's said there's enough tetrodotoxin inside one pufferfish to kill as many as 30 full-grown adult humans, and there's no antidote or cure. Still want to try it? You better go get checked out if you said yes. Sarin gas. Just so you know, you never want to come into contact with sarin gas unless you're looking to end everything you know within minutes. That was a little PSA from us for you. Sarin gas is a horribly toxic synthetic organophosphorus compound that has been, and still is, used as a chemical weapon. Want to know why it's terrible? Exposure even at extremely low concentrations can cause asphyxiation in anywhere between 1 and 10 minutes due to the paralyzation of the muscles of your lungs. The only way to save yourself would be to get the antidote, and quickly. It's literally considered a WMD, so just steer clear. We don't know where you'd ever find it, but if you do, go the other way. Sarin is no joke. Golden poison dart frog. This little critter is pretty cute, isn't it? If we didn't know any better, we'd probably scoop it up with our bare hands and take it home with us. But we do know better. We know that one of these little things contains about enough poison to take out roughly 10 full-grown men. All it would take is a dose that's approximately equal to 2 tiny small grains of salt to take out one person. These are the little frogs you see people dip the ends of darts in movies to create a poisoned dart. But it's not all just the movies, as this has actually been used by Amazonian tribes in real life for a long time. It may be cute, but it's deadly, and if you ever see a brightly colored frog, just don't mess with it. Chances are you won't be around for much longer if you do. Ricin. Well, okay, this one's not only scary because of how toxic and deadly it is, but because it comes from the castor oil plant. We humans use castor oil, and it's freaky to think that one of Earth's deadliest substances comes from the same plant. It's terribly toxic when inhaled, ingested, or injected, and it can also be a problem if the dust contacts someone's eyes or if somehow gets absorbed through the skin. The symptom onset varies between days and hours depending on the route through which someone is contaminated, but once they kick in, they're not at all pleasant. Hemorrhages, shock, organ failure, pulmonary edema, and respiratory failure are just some of the things that may happen, so just take it from us. You don't ever want to deal with this sketchy, scary ricin. We have one more terrifying, deadly substance to go. But first, we've gotta ask, are there any of these you hadn't heard of before? Let us know which ones down in the comments below. VX. So here's another weapon of mass destruction. Remember when we talked about sarin gas? Well, this human-made synthetic chemical compound does basically the same thing, but is even scarier. It's, in its purest form, an oily amber liquid that does not evaporate and actually persists in areas where it's spread. So it just keeps doing its cruel thing because it sticks around and just hangs out, unlike sarin, which is a gas. VX is actually short for Venomous Agent X, and the demon agent causes a neuromuscular blockade, disrupting communication between the nervous and muscular systems. This causes asphyxiation, considering all of the body's muscles, including the diaphragm, become paralyzed. Yeah, it's bad. All of these substances are bad. No thanks. If this video informed you, or heck, if it entertained you, do us a favor and click the like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss any of our excellent daily videos, and enjoy this next video that we picked out just for you.